Hi guys, it's Mr. S here for a revision tutorial, and this is for GCSE RS AQA Syllabus A, and today we're going to be looking at paper 1, Christian Beliefs, Qualities of God. Now just one slight warning, I'm not editing these, so there's no wizardry, there's no things flying across the screen or anything like that. It's just me talking to you, really talking through a few basic ideas that you might use when answering the questions in the GCSE. So I apologise for the shoddiness of it and all the mess in the background, and I haven't got makeup on and all the rest of it. So I'm going to start with this idea of the Christian God. There's only one God in Christianity. Christianity is a monotheist religion, mono meaning one, theist meaning God. So Christians believe in one all-powerful God. And this is something that starts really in a big way with the Abraham, the Jewish religion, the belief in one God, which then, of course, Jesus is born a Jew, and that goes on through Christianity, and then finally through Islam as well, the idea of one God, one all-powerful God. And Christianity describes God through a number of omni words. Omni is, I'd say it's Greek, it's probably Latin, you'll have to look that up. Omni meaning all. So God is omni this, omni that, omni whatever, omni meaning all. And the first word I'm going to talk about is omnipotent. This means all-powerful, omnipotent, all-powerful. And there are many examples of God's omnipotence in the Bible. From the creation story, God creates the world in 6 days and rests on the seventh. He creates it from nothing, ex nihilo, out of nothing. This is a sign of his omnipotence, his great power. Then, of course, this omnipotence is translated through the miracles of Jesus, because Jesus is God in human form in the Christian story, or Christian belief, sorry. And Jesus performs many miracles, including raising people from the dead. Lazarus, a friend of his who had been dead for 4 days, Jesus rises from the dead and says, "He who believes in me will live even though he dies." And this is a sign of his great omnipotence. Now, another word that Christians use to describe God is omnibenevolent, and that means all-loving, and God is all-loving. And I suppose the greatest sign of God's love is the fact that he allowed his own son Jesus to die on the cross to take away humanity's sin. And there's a quote in the Bible that said, "God so loved the world that he gave his only son." God so loved the world that he gave his only son. Another sign of his omnibenevolence is that he creates man in his image. Genesis 1, God creates man in his image. And some of the qualities of God are transferred or given to us. So, for example, humans are capable of showing a great deal of love. And the word in the Bible for that is agape, spelled A-G-A-P-E, agape. And Christians often show this unconditional love through acts of charity, giving money to charity, donating to food banks, and that sort of thing. The other words that you could use to describe God is that he's just, he's fair. God will always judge you fairly. And omniscient. Omniscient means he sees and knows everything. He knows the secrets of your heart. So you could lie to anyone else and be a convincing liar. You could go to court and get away with murder, convince a jury that you're innocent, but you can't lie to God. He knows the secrets of your heart. He knows your intent. So God will always judge you fairly because he will know what you intended to do. Even if you manage to pull the wool over or lie to other people, you can't lie to God. So on the day of judgment, you will be fairly judged. There's this other idea as well that God is transcendent. He's beyond our understanding, completely beyond our understanding. We will never truly understand God's will, and that's important in a minute. So I want to move on to a problem with this idea of God being omnipotent, all-powerful, and that is the problem of evil. And the problem of evil says this: there's so much human suffering in the world. If God was all-loving, he would want to stop it. If God was all-powerful, he could stop it. The fact that he doesn't leads to the suggestion that either he's not all-powerful or he's not all-loving, in which case he's no longer God. He's a superhero, if you like, without any superpowers. He's Superman with no strength, and therefore he's no longer God. And this is a real problem for religion, and particularly Christianity and the Abrahamic faiths. There are many types of suffering in the world. For example, there's natural suffering caused by natural events like earthquakes and tsunamis and things like that. And you could say, well, how can we blame that? We can certainly blame God for that because, they're not created by humans. Although even some natural disasters are created by humans, for example, global warming, climate change. But then there's moral suffering. It's where people do nasty things to other people. So murder, stealing, adultery, and all these sorts of things. Now, the Bible and, Christians talk about this idea of God being omnipotent, and they say it's not God that creates evil in the world, it's humans. God gave humans free will. He loved us so much. He didn't want to program us as robots. He wanted to give us choices to prove that he can trust us, a bit like a parent who allows you a certain amount of space so that you can grow and become an individual, but also to prove that you can be trusted. And so God gives humans free will, and some humans, or many humans, abuse that free will. And we're all prone to sin. Our ancestors Adam and Eve sinned and passed that sin down through the generations. We're all prone to sin. And the other argument for so much suffering in the evil world goes back to this idea of transcendence. And there's a story in the Bible about a man called Job, spelt Job, J-O-B. And he suffers terribly. He loses his family. He loses his income. He becomes a homeless beggar. And eventually he loses his sight. And one day he's so angry at God, I guess, for what's happened to him. He's been a faithful servant. He's prayed 3 times a day. He's done all the things God wanted. And he shouts out to God, "Why me? Why has this happened to me?" And God's response is, "Look, I'm God. You're a human. I'm beyond your understanding. You'll never understand my will. But if you accept what's happened to you and that it's part of my plan, you will be rewarded." And Job does this, and he's duly rewarded with heaven, where there is no suffering, and so on and so forth. Which you could say is a get out of jail free card. You have to have faith to accept that story. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about that story, but there you go. So that's what I want to tell you about the nature of God. I mean, think about the omni-words: omnipotent, omnibenevolent, all-loving, omniscient, all-knowing, that he's just, that he's fair, and that ultimately he's transcendent. So although we might know some things about God, we'll never know everything about God. And finally, he made us in his image. So we share some of these qualities. We share the ability to show unconditional love, agape, in our dealings with others. Okay, well, I hope you found that interesting and useful. If not, please leave some comments below. What have I missed out? What have I got wrong? And if you like this video, of course, and share it, and maybe somebody else will find some use from it. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon for the next one. Take care.